Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Makakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and few sisters out there. Unto those like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. This is going to be a quick show through the spirit of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. I don't want any of your brothers to be edified. I was just talking to the beloved brother Shamar Moth. We was just talking about it. I mean, literally. And what popped up, this from GMS Dedication, Americans are out of money. And that's what we was talking about, because the way the economy is heading, a lot of these jobs are about to lay off a lot of people. And we was making mention of, I believe, Costco's and BJ's and all that good stuff. Their prices about to go sky high. They about to hike up their prices. People living literally, according to this read right here, which I'm not gonna read all of it, just a few things from it, because I have another article that popped up. And according to this read, which is nothing new, we just in that time, in that season, and people fail to understand that the way things are normally they're about to dramatically change. And that was one of the main things we was talking about, through the conversation, because I was making mention about the video of Apostle Tahar that I put up about the robot dogs in New York City, and how they're gonna put it in Times Square for everybody to talk to them and probably pet them, and it led to a lot of stuff. But one of the main things through the spirit I said is the way everything is going, how the Lord might have it where the dollar could collapse overnight. No adjustment to nothing. Alright? It's gonna get that damn bad. Shit could change overnight. No, for a lot of people, there's no cushion. Imagine you sitting on, I don't know, $20,000 in your house, hypothetically, I don't know. And then tomorrow, it said that $20,000 is probably like $2,000. You know how much that would hurt? What if you have $1 and the dollar's just completely, $1 bill completely useless? That's how bad it's gonna get. That's how bad the Lord is conditioning this world. Real quick, I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna read the other article that I seen, because it works hand in hand. It says every year one or more studies say Americans lack enough money to cover costs of an emergency, which is true. All right, welcome to our world. What I mean by our world, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, we barely scrape it. Okay, we barely scrape anything. Don't know how things come about, but it comes. But because why? We live by daily bread. That's what the Lord's made a statement that He made. I'm gonna read on. It says, usually the shortfall is several $100s. Another research report shows that the problem may be more severe. Nearly 2/3 of Americans live paycheck by paycheck. Among the culprits is high inflation. So all Americans live paycheck by paycheck. And the trick about the paycheck by paycheck is to get to work. All right, going back and forth if you're driving, gas costs, which you get your privacy. You don't have to deal with people with the local trains or buses or whatever city that you dwell in, which is much of a headache. But you gotta be, you don't get the luxury of that. Okay, insurance went up, car insurance went up, car payments went up. All right, everything is going up. So this is the catastrophic of a beautiful fall, man. It says according to CNBC, 58% of all Americans are now living paycheck by paycheck. High incomes do not entirely solve the problem. Whether or not you have significant wealth, everyone is feeling the squeeze, said Ala Simmons, profile manager of TIAA. The economic efforts could be profound, especially if the recession or higher high inflation continues. A recession means the loss of millions of jobs. Many people do not have the means to cover even daily expenses. If they are out of work, inflation continues to take away money because of the rising fuel prices, food costs, which American households cannot do without. So it's not about the extra money for, you know, everybody had one time when you had a job, you had extra money for bullshit. You know, you might spend money on something which is not really necessary, and you just, you know, I just wanted to do that type of attitude. Well, those days are over. All right, those days are literally over. We living in a time where you gotta you can't even afford to get anything. Everything's so goddamn costly. You have to, when you buy something, you gotta be very critical of the things that you buy, if it's truly necessary or not. You don't have the luxury of doing it, making any mistake. All right, that's how bad it's getting. It says the American economy runs on consumer spending. Oh, that's what we're talking about, because what it is, people are not buying clothing like they used to. Clothes that's a luxury right now. If you have enough clothes that fit you, there's not no holes in there, might as well just, you know, fashion is going to become a thing of the past, because you're just going to want to have the bare minimum. And this is what the Lord prepared us for long ago. All right, we don't need certain things that we thought we needed, and the Lord has trained us in that way long ago, because of these days that's coming. That's why the scripture says, give us this daily bread, godly contempt. All right, so I don't have to read no more of that particular thing. It's just the article that I seen, and this comes, I guess, a new app. This is The Guardian. It says U.S. inflation at 5%, the lowest been since 2021. So what does that technically? Does that really mean? That means that prices are stabilizing and going down. But just like that guy, just like the other article stated, that people are not spending like they used to. All right, they're not spending like they used to. So it doesn't really matter if it went down 5%. Okay, I just came from the supermarket, and goddamn, there was nothing really on sale. Right, everything is out of the norm. Prices on the local supermarket. Imagine the local stores. Now, a lot of places in America, because a lot of these, I live in a city, not the city, but I live in one of the boroughs, which could be considered a city, where in New York City, every corner store, depending where you live at, like certain places in Brooklyn, certain places in Queens, they have literally corner stores every block. So you have that the conveniency of just getting anything at any time you want to, depending on the neighborhood that you dwell in. But a lot of places that don't have it outside of New York, that relies on Walmarts. Now the Walmarts of lately has been closing down many stores. Now Walmarts, before it became these superstores, Walmarts was taking a lot of jobs from the locals. So now local stores can't really, unless you had a mom and pop and you was just trying to fight the prices of Walmart and you kept going for all these years, right? But now everybody got accustomed to Walmart, and they got accustomed to everything else. So either way, it's not looking good. It was designed to not look good. It's clearly not looking good at all. What's happening with this society, which is beautiful, you know, is a blessing in disguise, because Lord knows we need to see this kind of outcome. And now with all these different nations dropping the US dollars, that's even a bigger blessing. All right, so we living in some beautiful times right now, man. And we have a couple of scriptures. I ain't gonna stress that out, because it's to be continued. All right, that's what it is. It's to be continued. because then we know what the continuation is gonna really end up. The end results of everything unnecessary. That's why that's a luxury to have a car that makes so much goddamn noise. And a lot of these stupid ass people that have cars with a lot of noise are just trying to show out. Well, you're gonna wish that you never had that. Anyway, Isaiah, a couple of scriptures. Let me take that out, just in case. Isaiah 19. Matter of fact, let me start 2nd Ezra. Yeah, I should start there. 2nd Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16 and I start at 17. It says, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? Because why would Ezra say such a thing like that? Because he knew at this particular time, when all these catastrophic events take place, that he was going to be here. All right? It was no secret that reincarnation was in the scriptures. That everybody knew that reincarnation was in the scriptures. To prove that real quick, I'm not going to I'm just going to quote it. St. John, the 9th chapter, around 9:1 on down, when the disciples saw a blind man and they questioned the Lord, like, who sinned, his parents or him? All right, and because they had the notion that men of ancient times had the notion or the mindset that they will end up coming back. So when Ezra saw all these catastrophic events that's going to take place real soon, he said, woe is me, who shall be with me in those days? All right. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and powers shall stand in fear, the beginnings of evils, and what shall I do when these evils shall come? So all these things, it may not be like in a category the way people we thought it would be, like events after event after event. It can happen overnight. All right, overnight they could tell the world that, look, the U.S. dollar is done. You know, especially in America, we in hyperinflation. Simultaneously, people bug out. They will lose it. You know, people try to buy whatever they can with whatever dollar they can. It's like, yo, it doesn't equate the same amount. The people in the store might try to shoot them, say, no, you can't take nothing, you know, because they're trying to keep their store. Or they might just close up the stores, and then people just go randomly, just start fucking taking shit and breaking down stores that didn't close down the stores and take whatever was there. Simultaneously, the military might come in. You know, stock market could crash in the same day. Okay, because everybody's dropping the dollar. That's the defense. The great defense is the worth of the dollar. Dollars are not worth nothing. All the foods are imported. Okay, so somebody's hoarding a lot of these foods that were imported, and that stopped the import. That was completely stopped the importing, and that's the U.S. government. They might just say fuck it. They might be a sleeper cell that knew about this, and they might just go to Washington and do something. This shit could happen simultaneously. Then people who not strong enough will suffer famine. People who's not strong enough will be overpowered by other people. Okay? People that are sick might just die. Simultaneously, they could just drop any sort of real plagues or diseases. So this could happen in all, I'm just stating this, like all this could happen in one event. One day it could happen. It could change the life of everything, and it's going to lead to whole heaps of other things, man. All right? Since I mentioned it, 2nd Ezra 15, it says, 14, it says, woe to the world and to them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And it could be an actual machete, butcher knives, all right? Some people might have some katanas at their house who love to let's be real. Some people do have swords as collectives items and so forth. They could have whatchamacallit, a bow and arrow. Alright? But the main sword that people have is guns. Okay? Little less effort of strength. You just, if you're a lucky shot, somebody that can shoot real good, you can shoot somebody down and not not sweat a bullet, not sweat at all. Okay? All this is these things going to happen. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. So men is not going to see the same energy or same love, because like the scripture said, for the love of many shall wax cold. Things are changing dramatically, man. Okay? It says invading one another. So people are literally going to invade one another. Especially the impulsive people. Alright? People that just say, you know what, I'm just going to take it. They're the ones that are going to go into somebody's homes right away and just get shot. And then people that doesn't have guns gonna like, yo, they just shot such and such. Right? And if you don't have guns, if you don't have, you can have the strength, you can have the numbers, but somebody have a lot of ammo, that's a lot of dead people, a lot of wounded people. And in those times, if you're wounded, you're pretty much dead. Okay? There ain't gonna be no medicine to give out like that. People are just literally gonna just leave people out there to die. If you get shot or stabbed up without any medicine, you pretty much dead when the time to come. All right, that's the thing about in the ancient world, people used to get juxed up, but they would, through the process of time, because they had a good immunity, sometimes they survived that. All right, and that might not be all the case. So I'm just being realistic how I'm seeing things right now. You put everything in a proper perspective, like we already know what would cause these things, but it could happen suddenly. And when these things happen suddenly, is all about survival of the fittest. And those that are weak, those that are out of shape, those that don't have certain attributes, they are going to be the first ones to go. When I mean out of shape, fat people are not going to survive the times to come, because they'll slow people down. That's just the reality of things. You don't have, and people with today's environment, they live paycheck by paycheck, not because they can't afford, because they put themselves in a predicament that they can't get themselves out of. And they live a certain lifestyle that it doesn't complement the things that's to come. It's not going to complement their lifestyle. All right? That's another reason why they're going to lose it, because of greed. There's a lot of greedy people. It says, they should and invade one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So they might have your mayors, your local, whoever's in office, whoever's in charge, might say, don't lose it. We'll get ourselves out of there. But when the food and everything not going well, according to people's plans, how they see it, people are just gonna lose it. All right. It's in the course of their actions to stand in their power, and by any means necessary. Wow. These people are fucking bugging, yo. This nigga just hit somebody and is fucking, wow. Hey, that's part of the heart. That's part of the fucking heartless situation, man. People are just losing it, man. A man just fucking just hit another car. He sees it, he just drives off fast. Yo, this anyway, that was live action. I'm doing this my show in the car. It says, a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. And we always, through the spirit, we always mention that martial law. But sometimes, sometimes, we could see it clearly. It's really talking about those smart cities. All right? Because when the dust is settled, when they get rid of all the undesirables, I forgot what film I watched. And they got rid of, there was like a purge situation. And then afterwards, I think it was a purge. They got rid of all the undesirables. They let the undesirables kill themselves off. And then the troops and everything comes in to bring law and order. And after that takes place, they'll initiate certain laws and things, so that way people can feel comfortable again. But it's gonna come with conditions, and the conditions could be anything. And the main conditions could be, you're gonna have to have the C-hip. All right, you're gonna have to have the C-hip in order to dwell in the cities, the cleaned up cities after all this stuff happens. So it's coming clear. It's daily coming clearly, man. It says, because of their pride, cities shall be the city shall be troubled, and their houses shall be destroyed, and a man shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, literally, but shall destroy their houses with their sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and the great tribulation. Because tough times are coming. All right, great tribulation is coming. So when this great tribulations take place, which great tribulations are, that's the lack of bread, harsh times. All right, from living paycheck to paycheck, not be able to live off anything. Going back to the black horse. All right, you're gonna be working for your daily. You're gonna be literally working for your daily meal. You're not gonna be accustomed to the luxurious lifestyle as you was before. All right, hey man, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is about to. He's about to let loose in this society. All right, he's about to let loose. Let me go back to this and I'm gonna end it off. It says, Second Ezra 16 and 19. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So all these things that's about to take place is for the correction of the people. And the lockdowns of 2020 should have allowed people to realize what's really going to happen. So they didn't take heed, and now, since they didn't take heed of those acts, what's gonna take place is gonna get worse and worse. People should have been some God-fearing, but it just got worse and worse. So all these things happen because all that did not happen in 2020. It's about to happen now. Then the people are gonna be crying a world of hurt, but it's gonna be too little, too late. It said, but for all these things, they shall not turn for their wickedness. They're not going to turn from their wickedness. They're going to be more prouder, more demonic, more evil. All right. It says, behold, victuals shall be sold good cheap upon the earth. And that's why they make mention that it went pretty much 5%. The last time it been like that is 2021, when it was better. We in 2023, and there's no sign of relief. All right, so even in that extent, it's still better to the times to come. It says, and they shall think themselves to be in a good case, just like that article stated, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword and famine and great confusion. And hey, aren't we not in a confused state? All right, that's why the mayor of New York is talking about allowing robots, dogs, to be out there, out and about. All right. So that way he's trying to educate the people, so it could be more accepted. And once it's accepted, guess what happens? People is gonna think that's a safe best bet, but that's to their own demise and their own destruction. So everything is adding up. So when people about to lose everything, there's gonna be some places gonna be reinforcements for them not to go. All right, because in reality, when people lose it and their neighborhoods is burnt up or whatever, where do you think they're gonna go? They're gonna go to the places where they know they have. And what a perfect place to have, perfect thing to have is a robot dog to protect that. So harsh times is coming, man. It said, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other, because they don't have the strength, they don't have the will, they're gonna have nothing. It's not gonna come to them like they used to. There's gonna be no Uber Eats, DoorDash or Grubhub and anything of that nature in those days. All right. It says that, I'm sorry, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. So if you're sharp, if you a prepper, you know, you could go out, get some food, or you could slip. Somebody's watching you, and they'll kill you with the sword. So it's gonna get real out here, man. It's gonna get real. So something real quick through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Don't want you brothers to edify. It's about to get cold out here. The guy just hit another guy. Said normally he supposed to stay there for the cops. Now the niggas just sped off, man. Grown ass fucking man, not no kid. Grown man. And the other car sped off after him. Hey man, it's about to get real out here. Real quick. Alright, so with that, you know, and the Lord's gonna be with us through the Spirit. We're part of the elect. We got nothing to worry about. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.